First of all, I want to say with pleasure to welcome back those that were away. Reb Herschel, Reb Funfetter, Reb Friedman, Reb Aberbach, Reb Hirsch. It's always a bad principle to do this. But Michal Avram was already there before, Baruch, and Jack Silverman, also Reb Hoffman. I said this and I missed in between. Yeah, you know something. It's always good to be the person in between. They say that they asked Rav Scherer what the word samager means in V'lam al Shinim. So he said, I don't know, but anything that's in between sashpileim and sachniim is nita gutazach. Yeah, huh? Okay, maybe he heard it from the Baba Rebbe. It's based on a Gemara. The Gemara says, Gedalya shenitnu bein shnei shemes, Kael deya is Hashem. So anything that's in between two names of Hashem has to be very good. And they say also, if you saw a picture and you saw Rav Moshe standing on one side and Rav Yaakov standing on the other side, and there's somebody in the middle, then that person must have been the Satmar Rebbe or somebody, But so anyway, Midnik, welcome to everyone back. It's every person that's not here. We miss you. We're a family that's davening for each other, and it's great to have everybody back. The Tanis of Tzom Gedalya is it's not very clear by people. Okay, we know that Gedalya ben Achikam was assassinated, and either he was assassinated on Tzom Gedalya or he was assassinated on Rosh Hashanah. Many held that he was assassinated on Rosh Hashanah itself, but you can't fast on Rosh Hashanah, so we fast. And we know that we fast because Gedalya misas tzadikim kisreifas beis Elokeinu. So just like we fast on Tisha B'Av for the burning of the temple, so we fast with the death of Gedalya ben Achikam. But it's more than that, because there were many great Gedalya Yisrael that died and that were killed. And we don't fast. We don't fast on the yard sites of the Asara Harugei Malchus. We don't do that. So we have to know that Gedalya ben Achikam's assassination was a national tragedy of tremendous proportions. Over 2,500 years ago, after the destruction of the Bayis Rishon, Nebuchadnezzar allowed a contingency of Jews to settle in Eretz Yisrael. And not only that, but he even appointed a righteous, Torah-observant Yid to lead the colony. And that was Gedalya ben Achikam. And it was very exciting. Nebuchadnezzar gave them a series of vineyards to care for, and there was yet a settlement of Yidden in Eretz Yisrael. What happened is Ammon was very jealous of the Jewish settlement in Eretz Yisrael, and he had a puppet, Nebuch Yid, Yishmael ben Nisanya, and he elevated him, and he charged him with assassinating Gedalya ben Achikam. And Gedalya ben Achikam had intelligence. The intelligence told him that Yishmael was on a mission to assassinate him. But the Mefarshim bring down that Gedalya refused to accept Lashon Hara about a Yid, that he would do such a thing. And he greeted Yishmael warmly, and Yishmael killed him and his whole entourage. the Yidden, the colony, those that were left were afraid that Nebuchadnezzar would be angry at what happened with his vineyards and everything. They fled to Egypt. The story doesn't end there. The tragedy doesn't end there. So that's enough of a tragedy. It wiped out the last vestiges of Yiddishkeit in Eretz Yisrael. But the tragedy didn't stop there. You see, they were living in Egypt, and Egypt was then very, like Egypt always is, very promiscuous. They asked Yirmiyah if they should stay in Egypt or they should come back and risk the wrath of Nebuchadnezzar and come back to Eretz Yisrael. So the Navi asked Hashem, and the Navi told them they should come back and they'll find favor in the eyes of Nebuchadnezzar. And they disobeyed Yirmiyah. They were afraid to come back. And then shortly afterwards, Babel came and attacked Egypt, and they were all killed. So the disaster of killing Gedalya ben Achikam was a snowball effect. It led to them leaving Eretz Yisrael, it led them to disobeying the Navi, and led them to their death, and the last vestiges of Yidden Eretz Yisrael were wiped out. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Now, there are many lessons. The first lesson is the horror of Jew killing Jew. That's a horror. The horror of Jew killing Jew. And this lesson repeats itself throughout the ages. In times of persecution, we suffered more from the renegade Jew than from the guy. The Moiser caused us incredible tzaras. When Jew against Jew, and Rabbi say, we're suffering from this now in Eretz Yisrael. It's terrible. It's terrible, Jew against Jew. Instead of appreciating that we have different sectors in Klal Yisrael, we have a sector that learns Torah and gives power to the whole land and makes it that we should be worthy to be in the land. We have Jew against Jew, Jew at each other's necks. It's horrible. You know, we're coming up to October 7th, the anniversary of a literal Holocaust in Eretz Yisrael. But there is an unspoken thing, and that is, it was a music festival of shtus on Simchas Torah. One of the horrible things about what happened is that Gedalya ben Achikam, according to many of the Mefarshim, was assassinated on Rosh Hashanah. For a Yid to assassinate the Gadol, it's not the Gadol Adar, but one of the Gedalya Adar, on the Day of Judgment, to go to a music festival of shtus on Simchas Torah? Now, we're not in the judgment business. And we have to know that there's a delicate balance over here. Because on the one hand, they did that. On the other hand, they were killed because they were Jewish. And the Rambam says somebody who's killed because he's Jewish has a din of a Kaddish. That's why we call them 6 million Kedoshim. It's an interesting phrase, 6 million Kedoshim. Amongst those 6 million Kedoshim were Jewish women and men that were married to Catholics. And they only ended up in the gas chambers because they had, Jewish blood. And Hitler, he killed everybody. But we still call them 6 million Kedoshim. So it's a delicate balance, how we look at it. Remember, we're not in the judgment business. Mishpatecha tahim rabba. But for our understanding, we have to understand sin. And this is a terrible crime. And to kill Gedalya ben Achikam on Yom HaDin itself. We also see what happens when the Yidden don't listen to the Navi. Yidden didn't listen to the Navi and they met a terrible end. In our day, it means that we have to listen to our Gedalim. And we don't listen to our Gedalim, it's not a good thing. We can't deride our Gedalim. We have to teach authority. For those that weren't here Friday night, I said a very big yesod over from Rabbi Dr. Twirsky. He says, it says, Sha'al avicha v'yagetcha sekeinecha v'yomrulach. Ask your father, he will tell you, your elders, and they will inform you. It says, today's youth don't listen to authority. He says, how do you get the youth to listen to authority? When you model it. When you respect authority. Shalavicha v'yagetcha, when? When zikeinecha v'yomrulach. When they see by their elders that they listen. If we're not respectful for authority, we have no hope that our children will listen to authority. The terrible occurrence that Gedalya ben Achikam knew ahead of time that there was an assassination plot. But he refused to accept that a Yid would say Lashon Hara. He refused to accept Lashon Hara from people. So first of all, you see, many people think that Lashon Hara is a new thing from the Chavetz Chaim. He dug up out of the mothballs something, this Lashon Hara thing, and he made it into a big thing. Lashon Hara, not to accept Lashon Hara, was always, I always say over that by the lulav and the esrig, we're getting ready for that. Some people are makbid to put a down payment on the lulav and esrig now to have the schus for Yom Kippur. So it says that the esrig is daima l'leiv, and the lulav is daima to the spine, and the aravis is daima to the mouth, and the hadassim are daima to the eyes, and the mechaper for the mouth, the eyes, the heart, the spine. So it's a big kasha. What's left out? The ears. Why don't they say that there's a nut that looks like an ear, right? So we should maybe take that nut and be mechaper for the ear. The Teretz says we were mechaper for our ears. That's listening to the shofar. Listening to the shofar is mechaper. Klal Yisrael was always extremely makbid on listening to Lashon Hara. Listening to Lashon Hara is such a. Remember, we said, the Chavetz Chaim said that when the Rebbeinu Shalom sees that we don't listen to bad about other people, then on the Yom HaDin he won't listen to bad about us. That's how wichtig it is not to listen. So Gedalya ben Achikam didn't listen. But l'maisa we know, and maybe it became more pronounced after this. There's a saying of Chazal, kabdeyu v'chajdeyu. In business, it's also very important. Kabdeyu v'chajdeyu. That means you honor the person, but you're allowed to be suspicious. You get solid intelligence. Kabdeyu v'chajdeyu. Gedalya ben Achikam didn't do that, and it led literally to the loss. It was a national loss, and that's why it's one of the fasts that we fast. The Mishnah Berurah always says that the purpose of a fast is to say that we shouldn't repeat sin. and that we should do tshuva. We have these last moments of the fast before Mariv, and I think that a very good thing to do in the last moments is to say some Tillim. Tillim for Eretz Yisrael, Tillim for the people that we have here that are not well, and Hashem should be mekabel b'rachmim b'ratzon our tefillas and give us a gemar chasima toiva u'mesuka.